when you have these people now who seek this ability to say and do whatever you want, and now there's certain platforms providing it, I think it's great, right? Go on those platforms, say whatever you want. The radical folks on those platforms vary. There's a spectrum of radicalness, right? And they don't all agree with each other. But there's people that are at the very end of the spectrum, the opposite end of the spectrum, that are extremely racist, extremely dangerous, believe in really just foul shit that I don't, that I would like to believe that humanity has grown past.
Yeah.
So they don't agree with each other, even though they're on the same side and they want freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Someone's agenda may be more dangerous and too radical for the radical person.
Yeah.
So then they get in tiffs and don't represent each other, even though they think they're on the same team and they're not. Because when you are making shit up that's solely coming out of what you believe that you may have heard from somewhere else and you're just regurgitating information, it's not always going to line up with the other person who's on that platform.
You're describing the current state of politics in America.
Oh, jeez.
Literally, the left and right are at war with each other because there's radical rights, moderate rights, people on the middle, conservative, like all over the place. And same thing on the left. You've got fucking wild liberals, you've got AOCs, you've got all these people, and everybody's disagreeing and the parties are starting to fall apart. So even the radicals don't agree with each other, the moderates don't agree with each other. It's a messy situation, and it's a test and a learning lesson for how we behave as humans. We had to go through this same activity prior to social media. How do we talk to people we don't agree with? Now the question has become scaled and become a massive situation. How do 3 billion people on social media who all have intensely differing viewpoints coexist?
What a nightmare.
Well run by organizations who have their own viewpoints with a legislative body on the side who has its own viewpoints.
Yeah.
And by the way, not just viewpoints, intentions, desires, greed, all of these things thrown into a bubble. And we're just sitting here as the guinea pigs of it, trying to see where it all fucking goes.
Well said. That was beautiful. I mean, you're right. It's a nightmare. It's a fucking nightmare. And it's really interesting that we are alive in a time period where our generation is going to have to do the figuring. We're going to have to figure some shit out.
Figure it out.
You have an answer to your question is because at the end of the day, I can sit here on this podcast and say whatever the fuck I want, and some people are going to agree and some people are going to disagree. And I believe that's supernatural. Like, don't think that because we disagree on George and I disagree on shit all the time, and we're best fucking friends. Don't think because we disagree there's not some sort of common ground we can reach, even if it's just agree to disagree. So do you have anything? Because I'm planning on being the president of the United States, brother. My goal is to fully unite these states. So what is the answer to the question of how can we get to a place where we can have meaningful conversation that ends with some sort of net positive outcome?
Two answers. One is just empathy and how we speak to each other. If you have a belief set that you know is very core to you and that you want to express, but also can anger or divide an opposing viewpoint, you need to learn how to express those views in a fucking healthy manner, okay? Unless you are doing it for views and clicks. And if you're doing it for views and clicks, like everyone we see, all the pundits, Shapiro, Crowder, AOC, fuck one side or the other. Just to be clear, no one on the show is a woke liberal. No one on the show is even a liberal. We are moderate to conservative. We're not fighting for people to be everybody to be censored. That's not what we're doing here. People need to learn how to talk to each other in a healthy manner. I learned that in the corporate world. I used to sell crack. I was a piece of shit.
Was that the corporate world?
No. And I didn't know how to talk to people. And you know what it got me? Felony charges. My ass beaten. Then I went into a real world environment and learned about chain of command and learned about how to speak to people in a positive manner while also expressing your concerns. The problem is not everyone has that classical training. So you've got a bunch of fucking animals spewing, you fat, ugly, and while Tate may have had great takes, unfortunately, they were said in a way that drove views and clicks and not in a way that was positive for conversation. And end of story. And that's why the almighty algorithm giveth, the almighty algorithm taketh away, and occasionally the almighty algorithm drops its mighty sword and severs the head of someone it doesn't like. And, you know,
That's biblical. Like,
Jack, Susan, and you know, and Mark Zuck are making those rules. I'm not, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but listen, I came up in the underworld. I know that there's people you can rough up, there's people you can buy, and there's people who call the shots.
Yeah.
And I ain't fucking with any, I like the platform.
right. And the steak.
I'm not saying that's okay, but hey man, YouTube, you got rules and I'm here to follow them.
Yo, we need the platform. In that way, yeah, we're caught in the matrix. I don't give a fuck. It's great here.
The steak is
the steak's
delicious.
amazing. We talk about, I don't want to fucking pump water from the well in my backyard. I don't want to go scream on the table in the courtyard. I want to fucking vibe out with cool people on social media and expand my horizons with things that never could happen 20 years ago because I have an Android device in my hand.